Selling a digital product online is not as hard as you might think. And honestly, like I said, anybody can do this. You don't need a degree in coding. You don't need really any education at all. This is something that anybody with a laptop and an internet connection can do from anywhere in the world, which is pretty exciting. There's actually never been a better time to start a digital product business than now. It's just so many tools available to help you get started and so many customers online who are looking to make their lives easier by buying one of your products. And to be clear, this is not a get rich quick scheme. If you want that, go buy a lottery ticket or some crypto meme coin. This is going to be a business that if you put the effort in, if you listen to everything I talk about in this video and you really dedicate yourself to this, I mean, really like maybe 10 hours a week, maybe 1 hour a week, maybe 40 hours a week, depending on how much time you have. But if you actually do that, you set goals and you do that for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you can be wildly successful. And now we can move on to the next step of how you're actually going to be selling your product. So there are really two main routes you can go. One, as you can see right here, is on Etsy. And the benefit of being on Etsy, there are downsides I'll mention in a second, but the benefit is that you already have a huge network of possible customers that are searching on Etsy, and you have that algorithm to direct them to you. As long as you have a better product, you have the right SEO, search engine optimization, that is, meaning the right tags, the right keywords, and you have good images and you overall have a good setup, you can organically market your product without having to spend extra money. The downside is going to be in those fees. Etsy is not really unconventional. They're not wildly high compared to Amazon and eBay and others, but it is going to be significantly higher than if you sold it on your own website. So the second option is to sell on your own website. I usually recommend doing both, having it on Etsy and having it on your own website. The benefit of your own website is going to be if you're selling in person, if you're selling maybe in like a craft fair, something like that, you can do that. But even more than that, you can run ads online on TikTok. You can have it set up in TikTok Shop. You can have it set up in Instagram and Meta and all these other platforms out there. You can connect very easily to your online store, which you can customize and also have significantly lower fees than you would on Etsy. If you go to etsy.com/sell, we can say get started and we can make our own account or continue with Google. And this will walk you through a very simple process of how to set up your store. So we can say, let's do this. I'm just new. We can skip all these questions as well. We're looking to sell online or skip this question. We can actually skip all of them and say start our shop. And from here, we can just it walks you through everything. Like I said, we're going to save and continue. The shop name can be Homestead, save and continue. We can choose our category. So digital files, not physical, things that we already made, and say save and continue. Now we can add the files. You could say upload digital files right here. So again, I'm going to click and drag that over. So I'm going to add a pretty long title here that's targeting a bunch of keywords and some more complex one as well. So things that I think people would search. And by the way, if you're wondering what people search, I don't have exactly what they search on Etsy, but on Google, if we go to trends.google.com, you could type in a couple different things. So plant germination stand and compare that to plant germination shelf. So plant germination versus plant germinating, like shelf versus whatever. So you can kind of play around and see what people really search for to come up with your best titles here. And you want to use maybe not all 140 characters, but you're probably going to want to use quite a few to make this really loaded with keywords and very likely to rank in search. Now we can add up to 10 photos and 1 video. I highly recommend you add 10 photos and 1 video, or at least as much as you can, because the more customers can see the image of this product and really understand it, the more likely they are to buy. If you just have one kind of like low quality image or no image at all, then you're just not really going to be selling very well at all. All right, so I have a bunch of images here. I've got a title, I've got my thumbnail. We can adjust the thumbnail, make it a little zoomed in or anything like that. We can then make sure we have the file down here. We can add more files as well. We can add a description. We can add personalization. I'm not going to. That doesn't really make sense here. That would be more so if they're going to upload an image of themselves or some like a name you're going to engrave or something like that. Digital products, that doesn't really apply, at least not in this situation. Price and inventory. So again, we can say maybe this is going to be $8.99. And it shows us a profit right there based on the fees. We can also have our cost. So if it costs us anything, which it doesn't for digital, we can add that there. But they show us estimated fees, which is pretty nice. You can see $7.69 is going to be what we're profiting on these sales on Etsy. Quantity is up to 999, which is fine. We can always just update that and say we have more. But it's a digital product, so there's no limit here. Craft type, this is going to be maybe woodworking, I guess. We don't need to have an occasion or a holiday. We can add our tags here. And we can save and continue. There we go. So now there's our first thing. We can add more listings. I would highly recommend adding more listings. You probably want to have at least half a dozen listings on your store. This is true both on WordPress and on Etsy, especially on WordPress though. So if you're selling this plan, maybe you want to sell a modified one that's a little shorter, maybe a taller one, a wider one, a double one, maybe one without wiring. You want to make a couple variants so people can see like, hey, this person's legit. They're selling a bunch of variations here, and they're not just like some one-off that maybe stole the design from somewhere else. So I think that's extremely valuable. So add more listings. For the sake of time, I'm just going to say do this later for this video, but I would recommend, like I said, set that up on your own. Now we can choose our payment information. So what are we? Are we a business yet? If you're not, you can set one up in the future. We have tutorials on how to do that. You could start off as an individual or sole proprietor as well. In the US, you would just be using your social security number for that. Then we can enter our taxpayer address, our name, our phone number, and all the information they need for at the end of the year to send us that 1099 for how much revenue we actually earned through this. And then we'll go and share our billing information so we can actually get paid at the end, connecting to our bank. And finally, we can set up our security for two-factor authentication. So that is how you'll be setting up this store. The next steps then, of course, what I would recommend doing when you're getting started here is on Etsy. A lot of these are just going to kind of organically start getting traction, but give it some time. It's not going to be in the first day. It might not even be the first week, but if you have a good product and you have a good description and you have, a number of good products, you should be getting sales in the first couple weeks or first couple months. But again, just keep spending your time building more products, researching, build out your store, and you're going to get the most success by iterating on this. As you try different products, some are going to work better than others, and ultimately you're going to find one that is going to be performing best. And when you find that product, that's when you can start running ads on it. I don't recommend running ads on every product in the beginning because it's a very expensive experiment to find out which products work and which ones don't. So in the beginning, it makes a lot of sense to me to just do this organically on here. And maybe it takes you 15, 20 products until you get one that really starts to convert well. And at that time, you don't have to run it as an ad, at least not at Etsy, but I would recommend running it as an ad on TikTok and the other platforms using your WooCommerce store. The next steps though, this is very, very important. The next steps would be one, to watch our tutorial on how to set up your Etsy shop and really get into more details on that. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I think if you made it this far, you know most of what you need to. But WooCommerce, I recommend watching this video right here. I didn't want to add that into this video that you're watching at the moment because I think that really should be a standalone video over here. It's 1 hour long. I think this one right here, actually, the condensed one, 15 minutes if you wanted a more brief version of it. But then after that, go and look up Santrel Media TikTok. I'll also have that linked in the description of this video, but you can see right here, this video is 50 minutes long, and that'll tell you exactly how to run ads on TikTok. Same thing as well on Facebook ads, and we have Snapchat ads if you're interested in that, but Facebook ads would be the other one. Again, about 21 minutes here on how to set that up and run those ads. So those are the next steps. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of store you're looking to start. I'm really excited to be a customer and just see what kind of success you guys are finding. So thanks again for watching. I'm Mike with Santrel Media, and I'll see you in those next videos over here.